So hello, everybody. Thank you for being here today and for the opportunity to talk to you about why our breathing is so important, the benefits, what we do wrong, and we're going to do some interactive exercises as well so that you've got some nuggets to take away with you today. A little bit of background for those of you who don't know me very well. My journey into breathwork itself started in 2017. I attended a 10-day silent meditation retreat, which became quite famous because the CEO of Twitter went on the same retreat, and it got called the boot camp of meditation. But I didn't know any of this until afterwards. At that time, I was really struggling with severe anxiety. I was not able to sleep, and this had been going on for about 18 months. And it got to the point where I would end up in accident and emergency, feeling like I was having a heart attack, couldn't breathe at all. And doctors just said, "There's nothing wrong with you. Thanks very much." And I wasn't happy with that. So out of desperation, I was recommended this retreat, and it focused on nasal breathing. And that is the key for today's talk. This had such a powerful reset for me, mentally and physically, that I wanted to understand why. And I'm really interested in science and how the body works. So I've made it my mission to research breathing techniques, try them myself. And in addition to breathwork, I'm also a qualified free diver. Free diving is a form of underwater diving that relies on breath hold rather than breathing apparatus. I was qualified as a scuba diver, but I wanted to learn how to free dive because I like the freedom of it without all the equipment. So I moved to the South Coast in 2018, joined a club, qualified, and competed in the UK Pool Championships, where I came fourth in my chosen discipline. And it is part of my DNA. I think there's dolphin DNA in there somewhere. So the breathing techniques I learned in my freediving practice include breath holding, and this enables the body to become much more tolerant to CO2. And when you combine that with meditation and yoga to enhance flexibility of your respiratory muscles, you can dive deeper and further and hold your breath for longer. This training then led me to the Oxygen Advantage program, which I am now an advanced instructor in. And these are science-based breathing techniques that I teach people in my courses, not just for sports training, but for general health and well-being. So that is my story. And now I'd like to invite you to join me in testing your breathlessness. This is a very simple measurement score that you can do every day to track your tolerance to carbon dioxide. And you might be thinking, well, why would I need to do that? Carbon dioxide essentially is our stress response. How do you respond to stress? This is called a BOLT score, or body oxygen level test. And I usually recommend we do this daily in the morning before you've had 3 cappuccinos and checked your emails. So you want to keep the heart rate down. And I'm going to explain to you how to do it. I'd like you to do it with me now. What you're going to do is close your mouth. You can close your eyes if you like as well. You're going to take a gentle inhale through the nose, and you're going to exhale. At the end of your exhale, I want you to hold your breath for as long as possible. But before you close your eyes, I'd like you to use your mobile phone or your watch, and I want you to time your breath hold from the moment you hold your breath until the moment you feel the first desire to breathe. And write that number down, however many seconds you can hold your breath for. It should not be forced, so there shouldn't be stress. You don't want to be holding your breath and then bursting and gasping for air. It's a gentle inhale, soft exhale, hold. So in your own time, take a normal breath in through your nose, gently exhale, hold your breath and count the number of seconds. Presumably you've all done that. We're going to come back to what those scores mean in a moment. The key with understanding your breath is to observe yourself. Self-awareness is very important in understanding how the body, the mind, the nervous system works. And all of us breathe differently based on our lifestyle, our environment, and our genetic predisposition. Just like incorporating any kind of exercise in your life, learning to breathe properly is an ongoing lifestyle choice rather than something you just do occasionally. And the questions to ask yourself are, do I breathe through my nose or my mouth? Am I an upper chest breather or do I breathe from the belly? How big is my breath? Do I naturally pause after I've inhaled and exhaled, or do I immediately gasp for another breath? Does my body physically move when I breathe? Do my shoulders move up and down? These are vital questions because ideally you want to be checking in with yourself all the time, how you're breathing, because it connects to how your nervous system is functioning. So what is dysfunctional breathing or poor breathing habits? These are disturbances in your regular breathing pattern, and how you feel them in your body is frequent yawning or sighing, breathlessness, tension, cold hands and feet, snoring, noticeable breathing at rest, and upper chest movement. If you're prone to anxiety, asthma, or panic attacks, you have a higher risk of dysfunctional breathing because stress triggers your fight or flight response in the body. If you speak a lot in your job, you can cause overbreathing or hyperventilation, which leaves you with a dry throat and a faster heart rate. Women's breathing is different to men's. We have to deal with hormonal fluctuations. So when progesterone levels drop in our bodies, which is usually during the monthly cycle and during menopause, this causes increased hyperventilation, which impacts on our sleep. So I strongly recommend diaphragmatic breathing because your diaphragm is connected to your hip flexor muscles. So if your breathing is not good, your movement is not going to be good either. And if you don't have full functionality, you're going to end up with poor mobility, lower back pain, upper body tension, and poor circulation. For the sporty lot, if you love to run, cycle, or perhaps engage in team sports, constant mouth breathing is going to cause a loss of moisture, and that's going to trigger exercise-induced asthma. So if you are healthy and exercising, by breathing through the nose rather than the mouth, you should finish your workout feeling a lot more relaxed and energized rather than dehydrated and exhausted. So you might be thinking, well, this is all great, but how, what's the actual impact if I change my breathing habits? The way I work with my clients is we retrain your respiratory muscles because they're like any other muscle in your body. You can train them to perform optimally. And the important thing here is light, slow, and deep. That is what functional breathing is. From the diaphragm, using your nose. And if you've never breathed like that before, then clearly you need to come and see me. So some of the positive impacts on good quality breathing: it can improve the body's response to asthma. You are less likely to need your pump if you're breathing correctly. Diabetes. Light, slow, and deep breathing reduces stress and improves lung function and sleep quality in diabetic patients. Mobility, as I've mentioned before, your hip flexors and your diaphragm are connected. That's going to impact how the body moves. Women's breathing, understanding the hormonal fluctuations and how that triggers our breathing is really important. And I have a lot more information for the ladies if you want to have a one-to-one with me. Dental health, breathing through your mouth, you're taking in unfiltered air full of bacteria. If you breathe through your nose, you can improve your oral hygiene. If you are prone to panic disorder or anxiety, learning to breathe light, slow, and deep can have a marked impact on reducing the symptoms and effects. High blood pressure, by slowing down your breath, can have a positive impact on arterial pressure, particularly if you suffer from type 1 diabetes. Snoring. Snoring and sleep apnea. Snoring is a sleep disorder. It's vibration in the back of the throat. When you close your mouth, you can avoid the sensation of snoring by learning to rebreathe through your nose. And sleep apnea is where people hold their breath when they sleep. Again, the same principle applies. And of course, last but not least, COVID, and long COVID in particular. I've worked with quite a few people who've dealt with COVID in various levels. And by learning to rebreathe correctly, they are able to help restore lung function. The magic ingredient in all of this is the nose. Your little nose on your face is where literally all the party happens. How is this possible? Just by taking a deep breath is not going to help you breathe better. If you are breathing correctly, you should not even be aware of your breath. Nasal breathing, it's much smaller than the mouth. It creates 50% more resistance compared to mouth breathing, but you get 20% more oxygen intake by breathing through your nose. That's 20% more ventilation for your body and your brain. So why wouldn't you breathe through your nose? I also appreciate some people really struggle with congestion. I've been a sinus sufferer for years. And when I stopped breathing through my mouth and relearned how to breathe properly, I was able to reduce sinus attacks from 3 to 4 weeks of serious discomfort to 10 days, if that. I very rarely get sick in terms of respiratory illness. As I said before, breathing through the mouth, you've got all this unfiltered air moving into your throat and your lungs. But breathing through your nose, you have to think about it like as a microbiome, like the gut microbiome. It's full of immune-rich cells in the tissues, and it's antibacterial. So you actually clean the air before it enters your lungs just by breathing through your nose. But the real knowledge with nasal breathing is a molecule, which even won an award, like the Academy Awards. It won the Molecule of the Year. It's called nitric oxide. And nitric oxide is a vasodilator, which means when you close your mouth and you breathe through your nose, the nitric oxide opens the blood vessels and allows more oxygen-rich blood into your lungs. This is absolutely vital for proper ventilation, particularly if you've had any kind of respiratory illness and you're carrying a lot of dead air in the base of the lungs. If you are struggling with your sleep, breathing through your nose and not your mouth will make a huge difference. It can literally alleviate snoring completely. And I have other tools that I use, including mouth tape with some clients, which sounds like a weapon of mass destruction, but it's not. It's a gentle way of encouraging the lips to close so that you can breathe through your nose at night. Also, what's really interesting in terms of children's development, getting the kids to breathe through their nose from as you know, they should, because babies barely breathe. And then we all start breaking into bad habits around 6 months and we default to mouth breathing. But nose breathing, if kids are not breathing correctly through their nose, they're not going to sleep well at night. And that's going to have an impact on development, ADHD, ASD, autism. It also can change their structural facial development with a receding jawline, teeth, palate that is not formed properly. So I would encourage you, if you have children or grandchildren, really think about how these kids are breathing, because it will impact their life forever. So in conclusion on nasal breathing, when people say to you, well, how should I breathe? What's the right way to breathe? Light, slow, deep, using the nose and the diaphragm. And that's what I teach in my courses. So now I'd like to move on to your breathlessness results. For those of you that did the exercise, if you held your breath and you were between 1 and 24 seconds, this is considered dysfunctional. If you were 25 to 40 seconds plus, that is considered functional. And these are based on scientific tests in terms of how the body moves when you breathe. And the vital thing here is to increase that, because when you have a high Bolt score, you will breathe typically from your diaphragm, not from your chest. You'll also have a slower rate of breathing. And this is going to have a marked impact on your sensitivity to CO2 or your stress response. And let's face it, we can all be less stressed, right? I teach these techniques. They're very specific exercises that work with how the body moves as well as the blood chemistry. And in the feedback I've had from clients is that these are tools for life. And I couldn't agree more. So now I'd like you to join me in the last exercise for today, which, and Pete, you'll be glad to hear, this is very calming. This is a wonderful reset emergency exercise to help you reduce anxiety, improve your sleep, and support recovery. What I would like you to do, you're all seated. You can sit in a chair and do this. You can also employ this exercise 15 minutes before you fall asleep at night. If you struggle with sleep or you wake up in the middle of the night and you cannot get back to sleep, this is your gold dust exercise. What it does, just quickly to explain it, by getting you to hold your breath for a short amount of time, and it will slowly bring your heart rate down. So if you have high cortisol levels in the body, you'll be able to reduce that. When the mind and the body starts to calm, you create space in the mind and you relax, you bring your nervous system back into parasympathetic state. And it's really important because that's going to help you enter your sleep cycle. If you have a racing mind and you try to sleep, it's not going to happen. So use this exercise whenever you need to. I'll explain it first, and then I'm going to time it. So all you have to do is close your eyes and listen to my voice. You're going to breathe in through the nose. You're going to softly exhale, and you're going to hold your breath for 5 seconds. Then I'm going to say to you, breathe normally for 10, and I'll count you. And I'd like you to just breathe very gently in and out through your nose for 10 seconds. If 5 seconds is too long, hold your breath for 2 seconds. It's a flexible exercise. So join me. I'm going to pop my timer on. And we're going to do this for 2.5 minutes. But as I said before, you can do it for up to 15 minutes as well. So seated comfortably, your back is supported. Shoulders are relaxed. Head is at a 90-degree angle, so your throat is nice and open. And just I invite you to just close your eyes if you would like to. Allow your breath to settle Just breathing in and out through your nose. And we will start. Take a normal breath in and exhale gently. Hold your breath for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe normally for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Take a normal breath in. Gently exhale. Hold your breath for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe normally for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Take a gentle inhale and softly exhale. Hold your breath for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe normally for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Take a normal breath in and gently exhale. Hold your breath for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe normally for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Take a normal breath in and gently exhale. Hold your breath for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe normally for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Continue to breathe gently in and out through your nose. And when you are ready, you can open your eyes. Simple, very effective. So to recap that exercise, you're breathing in, you're exhaling, you hold for 5 seconds, breathe normally for 10. So why is breathing so important? This is a summary. You can strengthen your immunity, improve your sleep quality, reduce anxiety and stress, enhance performance, and improve blood circulation and lung health. I'd like to share with you a few testimonials of clients that I've worked with, just to give you an idea of how breathing has helped others. Finn had COVID and he employed the exercise we've just done. It gave him a huge amount of relief and has helped him with his general health and well-being. Sally came to me having not slept very well for 2 years, and after 2 to 3 weeks with me, her sleep improved dramatically. Andrew is one of my sports clients. He's climbed Mount Everest and he swam the English Channel last year, and I worked with him using more advanced breathwork techniques to help him with his performance, but also it had a wonderful impact on his sleep. And last but not least, Rachel had surgery and was told by her doctors she had to stay in for a few days because her oxygen levels were too low. So she practiced her breathwork exercises in hospital, and after a day, the doctors let her go home because her blood sats improved so much. So these are very empowering techniques in terms of how you can manage your own health. If you would like to know more and work with me, I do breathwork taster sessions. These are 60 minutes to give you a deeper understanding of what we've discussed today. The dates are on the screen and I will share them in the chat. I also do 3-week programs every month for deeper integration. And my next one starts on the 8th of Feb. It's in the evening. They're all on Zoom, small groups. We actually have a really good time. So come and breathe with me if you'd like to know more. Again, I'm going to put details in the chat. And I also do live workshops in the New Forest. So if you'd like to join me for a 3-hour delicious, relaxing retreat where we look at guided meditation in nature, we do functional breathing exercises and very simple yoga stretches, which I use for my free diving, you'll come away feeling renewed and restored. So last but not least, I would love you to come and breathe with me. This is my website, or you can connect with me on Instagram or LinkedIn, and I'm more than happy to take any questions.